We get into game number 2 here. It's gonna be on heavy rain, spawning in the bottom in pink for CT6. It's our Terran player Guluheend. And it's about in the top. It's our Zerg player from Guns N' Roaches. It is our blue Zerg GDP. I said Zerg twice because I can. Totes. Alright, ZVT on an old map. This is a very old map. CTL Season 6 does happen to use all the ladder maps from the first Blizzard ladder season of the year. And we stuck with them because sticking with things is important in life, right? Yes, very, very important. But it is TBZ. This is an interesting map for it. Mech pushes can be extremely scary on this map just because of how choked up everything is. So you can't really get around and surround if you bring a massive mech army up through this middle section. There's nothing at all that's actually going to push that away. You're not going to be able to surround it. To surround it, you're going to have to take this tiny little choke and do so. So that can be very scary to do on this kind of a map, but nonetheless, we'll have to see what Guluheend decides to play, what he decides to do here. He's an interesting player. He has a lot of play styles under his belt, so I'm sure he is nice and comfortable doing whatever he needs to do. First barracks on the way, first gas on the way here for Guluheend. Looking like it may be a hatch first out of our Zerg player as well. No surprise there. That's a nice safe opener, really, against Terran. Momentarily thought about taking a pool, it seems, but this drone is rallied down, so he will be making a hatchery here in just a moment. Actually, an early drone scout from GDP came out. He didn't go in and actually see the gas was being created, so he's not going to know that. But you know, it's TBZ, it's HOTS. You kind of almost expect seeing an early Reaper, but I think this game would have been played after the Hellbat patch. I'm not necessarily sure. I honestly don't know. So seeing like a Marines first and then into a really quick factory to get a bunch of Hellions out early is also a possibility, but it doesn't look like to be the case. Will be a first Reaper on the way. Pool is down and on the way as well. No gases just yet from our Zerg player. No surprise there. It's pretty easy to hold off whatever the Terran player throws at you with just a bunch of queens. So he will probably be going ahead and doing that rather than trying to get really, really quick speed or anything. GDP, he's just checking out. He's just trying to scout as much as he possibly can. He even has a drone down here in his natural base, trying to find if there was any sort of early bunker. This is kind of an interesting map setup. You can actually, it is so big back here, you can actually hide a command center. So if you went CC first, you can put it down. You can put it down back here, and it's not all that far away from the middle patches. And it can kind of confuse the player if he happens to get in with a drone and sees absolutely nothing at the front. Doesn't see a CC down here or anything of the sort. You kind of make the player hit that panic button. First Reaper is getting in, barely nicely micro there by GDP. Does not get that drone, but this drone is probably going to finish up making that gas because if he decides to cancel that while this Reaper is still here, that drone should go down pretty much immediately. Drone gets made into a spore collar to save its life as well, and there we go. The cancel on both of those. Reaper will get out with its life. Got a good amount of scouting information. Hasn't really seen, you know, anything frightening just yet, just kind of the normal gasless expand sort of build. A second Reaper is here as well, and he's going to start picking away at these lings. Already kills off 2 of them. Queen is here, so she'll be able to shut that down. But nicely done for these Reapers. 1 kill apiece on each of them. Natural CC is just about to finish up here. Factory about to finish up as well with this reactor, so we'll be seeing a good amount of Hellions out pretty soon, as well as a bunker up front for Guluheend. Going to stay nice and safe into his own base. Still no gases yet for our Zerg player. He's actually going to start losing some drones. Not reacting very, very well for this. How many drones did he just lose? He just lost 2 more drones there, which is always annoying. So now the Queen is getting picked at. It won't die, because this is only 2 Reapers. But the 3 Reapers, that'd be really frightening for this Queen, and she'd have to run away immediately. But as it stands, it's only 2, so she's going to push that away. Guluheend retaining this Reaper count. Very, very important for a Terran player in the early game, retaining all of these Reapers, making sure you keep those alive, and because those follow-up Hellions are such an annoyance if you actually have the Reapers as well. Even a tech lab on the starport, so he's going to go for a Banshee as well. Whether or not he actually goes for Cloak, only time will tell. The second gas only came down pretty recently here for Guluheend, so he may not put all of the effort into getting Cloak, at least just yet. No tech lab coming down on the barracks either for Guluheend, so this could actually just be turning into a mech playstyle. Cloak is on the way for these Banshees, so he could just push this into a mech-oriented game, take a pretty quick third commensurate if he wanted, but Roachhorn is just about to finish up for GDP already. He is on 4 gases now, only 2 in the natural base that are actually mining gas right now. So Spore Caller is already coming down. I think he caught wind of the possibility of this follow-up with Cloak. So he was going to stay nice and safe from that, but he's going to have a little bit of an issue for a while dealing with this. He's going to have to make some roaches to deal with these Hellions and the Reapers as well. Getting right on top of the Queens, actually. Maybe able to take out a couple of the... He does take out one of the tumors that's building, which is nice. Maybe actually take a Queen as well for his troubles. One Queen does go down, and now there's only the one Queen to deal with this. A Hellion actually blocked in by its Reaper, so he's not going to be able to get away from that, and actually may kill a second Queen, which would be absolutely huge. 2 more Queens are coming down from the main base, but now he's killed 2 Queens here. There's no third base just yet. There are 7 roaches about to pop out. Layers on the way as well, but this is a big annoyance. He's actually in the middle line, going to try to... he's sacrificing all these units. He's going to sacrifice every one of these units to see how many drone kills he can actually get with this to follow up with the Banshees to also continue being annoying. Banshee actually picking away at the Roachhorn while all this is going on. May actually be able to kill that. 9 drones have been killed so far in this game, so an additional 7 drones were killed with that little push there, as well as those 2 Queens. So this is kind of turning into a big deal here for GDP, trying to find a way to actually deal with this. Behind on this, Guluheend is nice and safe back home. He's got Stem on the way. He's got some Marauders on the way. He even has 2 bunkers built up here, and there's no third base yet for the Zerg players. So this is nicely played thus far by Guluheend. How many workers do we have here? 46 workers to 37 in favor of the Terran player. At this point of the game, is kind of frightening. Banshee's picking away at yet another Queen, so we're going to have yet another Queen die off here. One Banshee just about lost her life, but staying alive. And again, still no third base. This was a very long time for a Zerg player to deal with, not having a third base. GDP trying to go up to 1-1 roaches here, try to push for some sort of timing, but that's going to be really difficult to make happen. Kind of luckily for GDP, if he does go for this sort of all-in build, Guluheend's going for a 3rd command center. He's got 2 engineering base down as well, and he's still only on 1 barracks right now. 2 more are finishing up. He does have... Well, okay, I thought he was making that into a tech lab, but he's going to add another reactor onto this barracks, realizing he kind of just wants a lot of... he just needs some bile right now, so I think he's going to try to get a reactor up quicker. So we can have 2 of these barracks with the reactors as soon as possible. Banshee's actually patrolling over by the creep. Wanted to kill off what they can, but there's an Overseer now. Queen actually takes out, nicely done there by GDP, Queen takes out one of those Banshees, kills it off immediately, and now this Banshee's going to have to probably get out of here. Could take out the Queen very quickly, so yeah, that's be nice. Kill the Queen, there you go, kill the Queen, there we go, kill the Queen. So yet another Queen has gone down here for GDP. He's lost 4 Queens so far in this game already. We're fairly early on. It's put a big brunt of, or not brunt, but it's really stunted his creep spread. And not to mention the fact that he's been kind of unable to inject as much as he would really like so far. 11 minutes, 30 seconds. Third base just now coming down for GDP. This is getting rough, especially with double upgrades on the way for the Terran player. The bio production is starting to kick in. They're going to have some tanks out as well. Curious, is this Banshee... I'm not sure if this Banshee has been enraged or that Scan actually saw any of the roaches. So he's not going to necessarily know. There we go. You can click on the roaches now and actually see that they do have 1-1, or at least have a 1 upgrade. So he's going to be able to figure out what he's facing exactly, and probably maybe even add on a second factory, or adding on more tech labs and getting even more Marauders out at a time. 1-1 just about finished up here. No armory on the way, so 2-2 is going to be a little bit behind. There we go. The armory is on the way now, so 2-2 won't be able to start immediately, but that shouldn't be too big of a deal here for Guluheend. No medevacs out on the field just yet, actually, which is also another kind of a frightening situation to be in at this stage of the game and not have any medevacs. Yeah, you got Stim. You're going to have a lot of bile, but without medevacs, you're not going to be able to do too much with that bile. You have to rely on tanks to actually defend your army with. 2-2 on the way here for GDP. It's again trying to go for this sort of Roach Hydra 2-2 timing, but this third base that took so long to get up. He's gonna be really this is gonna be a really late push if it does come at all, or he may just be trying to find a way to get into a later game and push this the way he wants it to go. One more Banshee gonna get taken out here. Was being a little bit annoying to the distractor. Not much else. Is there a spire? There is no spire just yet. So GDP definitely just focusing on this ground army of roaches and hydralisks, which can be extremely frightening. Those hydras have such a high DPS, but with enough tanks, with enough bio, with the medevac force, that's kind of the problem right now for Guluheend. He doesn't have many medevacs out in the field, but he does have a second factory on the way. So even if he wants to go into mines to add on to this, or just go for double tank production, he's going to be pretty happy with that. It is going to be a second tech lab, so double tank production will be very nice for him. 2-2 on the way here for our Terran player. No fourth base just yet on the way. Starting to add in some... Well, never mind. Those are supply depots. I thought they might be turrets. Just supply depots watching his back in case this were going to be like drops or anything like that. Doesn't seem to be the case just yet. Hydra speed going to be finishing up here in just a second. This 2-2 is going to be finishing up as well. GDP looking to make this attack happen. A really nicely placed Marine over here on this attack path, scouting that out, making sure he wasn't going to get bum rushed by a bunch of units on that side of the map. Even if he was, he's got these supply depots here. He's got a lot of bunkers here. Guluheend just kind of realizing he's playing from ahead for this entire game. He's playing as defensive as possible. That is a lot of bunkers to have up at this stage of the game, especially when you actually even already have tanks up. This base is extremely well defended, and GDP is going to try to find another way in. But again, a Marine over here and this location, so he's going to be able to set up for this. And actually, he could just go in and probably attack this army pretty easily. Guluheend's probably going to wait for 2-2 before he does any sort of attacking, especially with the low amount of medevacs he actually has right now. Still only on 2 medevacs, which is going to be kind of a little bit scary, but still, all of this Zerg force trying to poke into a bunch of bunkers with stim bio. This is not going to go well for GDP, and it's a beefy army. These Marines and Marauders don't have 2-2 just yet, but tanks are with us as well. GDP drops heavily in supply. 9 more Hydralisks are on the way, and now we have the double drop starting. This is really going to be an issue here for our Zerg player. He doesn't have a Spire. He's not going to have a Spire for a long time. Yeah, there's a Spore Crawler in the main mineral line as well as the natural mineral line, but beyond that, there isn't a whole lot for him to defend with back home, especially since his whole army is back out on the middle of the map, and Guluheend is nice and safe back at his bases with all of this defending force. Double drop is going to be moving in here now. What is the reaction going to be for GDP? What the heck do you do against this? You don't have much of an army back home. That's a lot of bio. Actually, another engagement happening. Oh, misrallied Hydra is going to go down. Tanks on the low ground are going to be firing against us as well. Such wonderful spread here for Guluheend. He's going to clean this up very easily. Same time, there's basically not much back home that's actually going to be able to deal with this drop. Guluheend taking a massive advantage as if he didn't already have a massive advantage. 192 supply to 135, 14 roaches make up some of that 103 supply. Natural base has been completely ransacked. Roach Warren goes down. All these reinforcing roaches are going to be popping out. We'll be able to clean this drop up, which will be nice, I suppose, but his income is so very low right now. The Terran player actually has 84 workers to the 57 of our Zerg player. Yeah. This is not going well here for our Zerg player. 197 supply to 124. Fourth base is down, turning into a planetary as well for Guluheend. He's actually started to add in a couple more CCs and random locations, just getting some more of, making a bunch of orbital commands, so he can start throwing away a lot of FCVs as well at this stage of the game. And he's got a massive army out on the map that's not going to be stopped, really. He's going to have to treat this a little slow. He doesn't want to run all the way into this army without his tanks supporting him. Steps forward, sees that army's going to back right the heck up, drawing all these roaches and hydras into the tank fire. Nice hold position there by Guluheend. He's going to take out what he can, and then he's going to start hopping up his tanks, actually losing a good chunk of this bio, which is a nice little victory here for GDP, but still, 70 supply lead right now for our Terran player. Looking like he's going to be able to bring this series back, make it a 1-1. Bunch of medevacs actually could get taken out by the reinforcements, or by this army moving across the map. GDP doesn't have a ton back home. He's got a couple bunkers up still, which is nice. But his reinforcements will eventually be able to clean up whatever is sent his way. At the same time, he's going to take out this third base. He's got another, actually, not very many. It's not very many units, but there's a lot of medevacs over at this location. GDP's army trying to come in from behind. Tanks are completely unsieged, so he's going to maybe able to clean this up. Siege tanks only have +1 for their attack, so this is a D, got to be cleaned up. But again, our Zerg player is now on 2 bases. His 4th base is going to be taken out here in just a second if GDP is able to actually kill it off. This army only has 2-2. Oh, he's not actually focusing. If he just focuses down the hatchery, there he goes. Focus down the hatchery. Oh, he doesn't. Now he's going to get those medevacs taken out. That's a lot of medevacs to lose, so he really wants to kill the hatchery. There he goes. He does kill the hatch. So another small victory for GDP, but a bigger victory here for Guluheend. Zerg player is stuck on, well, one mining base that only has very, very few minerals in it right now. Forced to long distance mine. He does have 640 minerals, but he's not going to be able to break this Terran army anytime soon. More and more CCs being thrown down across the map here for Guluheend. Again, these wonderfully nice spotting Marines, and Guluheend's going to spin in here, take out the rest of this army here of the Zerg player. GDP dropping on 100 supply. Guluheend, there we go. GG from GDP. Guluheend's going to take this game. It's going to make it 1-1 here in this best of 9 series.